So, why don't you start off with like where you started dancing in general, just so we can get like a background, and then we can just jump off from there.
Yeah, so as a kid, I grew up watching Solid Gold and Soul Train. There were two shows. If you have not seen them, just look them up on YouTube. Solid Gold was kind of like a variety show, and they had like carnival type dancers with all the feathers and stuff. And Soul Train was the best. Like it was just kind of like everybody would be jamming, and then like the Soul Train line, that's where that was invented. And I'm so surprised that sometimes people don't know what that is, but it's when you have the two people on the side and everybody takes their turn going down to like show
Yeah.
off. Um, so yeah, so I watched a lot of that growing up, and we always had music on in the house. So I just always danced. My mom danced around the house, like that's just what we would do. We would just dance when we had family gatherings. We would dance. And it wasn't until I went to college, I think, that I took a dance class. Um, yeah, my parents, they had four kids. My dad was in the military, often deployed, so they're not trying to sign their kids up for 20,000 activities and, you
Yeah.
know, spending all that money on kids and then have to take them everywhere. Like they weren't trying to live that life. So yeah, when I went away to college, I went to the University of Virginia for my first 2 years, and I took a jazz PE dance class my first semester, and I loved it. I knew I had come home. I knew it was everything I wanted to do ever in my entire life. And
Yeah.
I was so hardworking and so obsessed. My teacher actually made me her assistant the second semester.
Whoa.
Yeah, I retook the class and she made me her assistant because I was obsessed. And then the next year after that, I went and I took classes at her studio where I took like jazz and tap. Juanita Wilson Duquette in Charlottesville. She was my first teacher, and she was
These
amazing.
core memories are made by teachers, bro. That's amazing.
Yep.
So what if you danced around the house and that was normal for you? Like, what was it about a class environment that seemed different? Like, what was different about it? Like, if you became obsessed at that point, you're like, I've come home, but you've already been dancing. Like, where was the difference in your mind?
Yeah, I think for me, it was like exploring the possibilities. And I think I can just be in my own little body bubble and move in ways that feel good to me. But I also think that taking other styles of dance helps you find more ways to express yourself. So I ended up, what was that? Oh, I took jazz and tap to start. And then when I came back home, my junior year, I started taking modern dance at Old Dominion. And there I took modern and ballet and jazz and tap. And then a woman came who did flamenco dance, and I got obsessed with flamenco. Like,
Oh, don't get me started.
yeah, yeah, flamenco was that also felt like home, like as far as like dance styles that I had been introduced to at that point, because it was so grounded. It was so um, full of emotion. Like a lot of the dance that I had been training, like in the formal setting, you don't really get to like emote everything. Like, or if you do, it's like this, like, but like there's something about flamenco where you get the whole journey. Like you get to be happy, you get to be sad, you get to literally just be yourself because it's an expression of life. Um, and I loved the rhythms. I loved the tapping. I loved the beautiful nature of just like the wrist movement, and I loved the way that dance is like really built to a climax, and I love the way that the movement was so related to the music and the structure of the music and how the music, the singer and the guitarist all play off of each other. There's something so alive about it that I just loved. So I really got taken with flamenco.
Yeah. I'm just gonna pretend for the rest of this conversation that I'm not jealous. I'm not. I'm not
Not
jealous at
doing,
all.
you
No,
too
no,
can
no.
flamenco.
Keep going. Keep going.
You can flamenco too.
Oh, take that. That would be amazing. So
Yeah.
part of all these styles that are coming together are like just showing you different parts of yourself that you can express in different avenues. But I know you as a teacher. So like where did that come in? Like were there any like frictions that happened, like mentally, emotionally, that entered you from like being a student to being a teacher? Like, how did you start that journey? And then
So,
like, no, yeah, okay, I love it already. Like, so the back end question is like, what motivated you to keep going, regardless of the frictions, if there were, which apparently there are.
you mean to keep going in terms of dancing or teaching?
I guess the transition between, I guess the transition.
Oh,
So like you start dancing, and then all of a sudden you start teaching, and that's a different side of you as well, even though it's a different skill. In the same way that like flamenco, jazz, modern were all different genres of dance, they're different skills. So like, where did the teaching enter, and then like you also now have it like as your business, like where was that transition? What happened there?
okay. So it's a funny transition. So it started when I was a kid. I always knew I would be a teacher. Like at the
Okay.
end of the school year, the teachers would print off like any extra dittos they had. You probably didn't have those when you were a kid, but we had worksheets. They called them dittos. And any extras, like, when kids were absent or the printer printed too many or whatever, they would give them out at the end of the year. And sometimes they would even give their like teachers editions of textbooks if they weren't going to use that textbook the next year. So I used to bring home like these teaching supplies, and we had a chalkboard, and I would teach my siblings. I would be on the chalkboard, and I would be teaching. I always yes, I always loved it. I also knew I was going to be a waitress growing up. There are certain things I knew, and I have accomplished my childhood dreams for sure. So,
I love
um,
it.
so then when I became my teacher's assistant, my second semester of school, when I took her jazz class again, and she made me her assistant, she actually ended up getting really sick. So I had to leave the class by myself, which was incredibly scary for, I think I did it for like 3 weeks. She
Oh
had
man.
been like,
Oh,
yeah, and
that
this
is a long
class
time.
3 days a week. And I had to leave this class. Yes. And I was like,
Yo,
I don't know what I'm
nine
doing,
class.
but
That's
yeah.
insane.
So I got thrust like pretty quickly being in front of the class. And, at that point, I wouldn't even say that I was teaching. I was just like relaying, I was demonstrating and hoping they'd follow and trying my best to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that was how I kind of got thrust into it. And then I actually became a school teacher. So I went on and majored in dance.
Okay.
And then the year that I graduated, the Salem High School opened up the Visual Performing Arts Academy, and I applied to teach there. I also had like a education minor. Like I had started being a Spanish teacher was what I was going to do when I first got to ODU, and then I changed it to dance because I was
Okay.
like, well, I had a scholarship at UVA and I left that. And when I came to ODU, I had to pay for it. And I was like, if I'm going to pay for it, I'm going to do what I want. So I was like, I'm going to do dance. Like,
I'm gonna do it if I'm paying for it. It's my money. Let's go.
yeah, I'm going to do what I want. So I went over to their open house and I applied for the position. She called the lady who was the coordinator of the academy. She loved me. She brought me in for an interview, but I was actually going backpacking in Turkey for 3 weeks leading up to Labor Day weekend. So I would have missed like the first 3 weeks of school, like the preparatory time. And that was super important because the academy was opening. So they really needed all hands on deck. They needed everyone present. And so I reapplied the next year. They had like a small, excuse me, position open up, and I applied for it and I got it. So that's how I started teaching. Yeah, but I had been an algebra tutor before that. I had been a permanent sub for math before that. Like I've always loved teaching. I've always loved being sort of like a conduit to someone going like, "Oh." Like, and I'm like, "I helped them." Like that gave me like a lot of gratification. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So yeah, so that's how that started. Sorry. And then to switch to go into salsa and bachata and starting my own business.
yeah.
So I taught for years in the school system. I was like a school teacher. And then I decided that per looking at some of the like more seasoned teachers who were closer to retirement, I was like, I don't think I want this for my life. I was like, I need to have an adventure. I need to not die in my hometown, never having gone anywhere. And, all I did was teach kids from the time that I was a kid. So I was like, nah, I got to get out of here. So I ended up quitting my teaching job. And, um, and then crazy enough, I met a man on Match.com and I ended up moving to Miami with him. And I got down there, and that's where I found the job that led me to Cayman. And so I actually became a pastry chef in the meantime, and I did that for a while in the Caribbean. Yes, but getting to where I started teaching, when I was in Cayman, I started dancing with. There was only really like one dance teacher there, and
Mhm.
he's an amazing dancer. He's a Jamaican guy named Kirk. He's amazing. He did this salsa night at the wharf, and he taught the intro lesson, and it was great. But then I would have a lot of friends who would go to his classes and come away frustrated. And I kept hearing this story over and over again that I would have friends who would go take salsa and they're like, oh, it was so bad. Like, because some people can do, and some people really value teaching, and they really value organizing information that makes it into palatable bites that people, because if you understand the learning process, it's all connections. You always want to build off of the thing that you've established previously. You don't want to give somebody 10 new things because then they go into cognitive overload. So, and I learned all of that, of course, in my education training, like all of my university classes, and understanding how the mind works, and then even like the motivations and how to deal with people at different stages in life. So I saw all these adults who wanted to go for recreation, to go do something fun, to connect with other people, to move their bodies, and they were just so frustrated. So that was when I was like, okay, I started meeting my friends on the top of a parking garage. I was like, look, if you want to learn, I'll meet with you. And we'll just do it for free. Like we'll just meet up there. I was like, we'll meet at this time at this night. We're good. Okay, good.
You just,
So we
you
would meet on the
just
top of a parking
bro.
garage.
That's
Because
amazing.
side note, my old roommate used to dance on the top of parking garages, and I was like, that is genius. I totally copied that from her. It's so amazing. It's just you and the sky, and it's awesome. Highly recommend for anyone who wants to just be free and move their body. So, um, so anyway, so I was like, okay, we'll meet on the parking garage. And the first day we go, and nobody shows up. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that again. Like, now I'm going to start charging people. Like, and I realized that, like, people need to contribute. People want to contribute. People need to contribute. So when I started attaching the slight, I was like, $5. I don't even like you can't even buy like a candy bar and came out for $5. I'm like, $5. Okay. Like the slightest donation, just something that says that you care enough to
Yeah.
contribute. And, oh, excuse me. So, then they started coming, and then I started getting more people because with my educational background, I understood when was too far to push. I understood where was like just enough. And this is the big thing, like with beginners, it's not about them getting it right. Like if you get especially adults, if they're not trying to be a professional dancer, if they're not trying, in the beginning, you just need to make them fall in love with themselves doing the thing. That's it. They need to feel good. They need to be like, yeah, I did it. Like, you need to like make it incremental. And so often I see teachers who get so obsessed with them doing it right and perfectly in the beginning. And it's like, well, that's not really what the goal is. Like, if you're somebody who, like, this is a pre professional program and we're taking pre professional students, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Like,
if your demographic is yes, absolutely. But when it's just like a community of adults who are having a good time and it's the beginner classes, I'm not saying that there's not a space to push people because I think that growth is also important in helping people feel confident. Um, so I there's a space for growth, and that's in the upper levels. But in the beginning, you can't give them 25 details. details. Like, do you know your right foot from your left foot? Okay, let's start there. Like, this is literally like we're starting there. Okay, do you know what it means to tap first step? Okay, we start there. Like, you
Yeah.
just you build the blocks, and then you can start layering things on top.
Mm,
But yeah, I've seen so many people get discouraged. And that was what led me to start teaching dance, is I just saw how many people were getting discouraged from this thing that I knew was so beautiful and would enhance anyone's life who decides to start doing it. Like, it's salsa is just like joy and movement. And then you get to like connect with somebody else while you're doing it. And
yeah.
then like if you both love the music, I mean, it just like compounds and it's like everything.
No, like
Um,
it's like,
yeah, but it's
and it's yeah, it's incredible to replicate that. Like when you're like, no, you don't understand. Like if you don't like dancing, you must not be experiencing what I'm experiencing because this is the only truth that I know. Like this is amazing. Yeah. So at that point,
yeah,
like
I mean, sorry, I was
no,
gonna say you can probably relate that teaching is like even teaching dance is like 90% psychology, just getting people out of their own false narratives and just into their bodies, like just to trust their bodies and not worry about what things look like and not if people are thinking this, it looks like it's a literally expression. Like you don't
yeah,
you don't need to worry about any of that stuff, but it's how
yeah.
you feel.
And it's also you haven't said it explicitly, but it's something that you said about being a teacher. Like there's certain people who are amazing dancers, and then there's people who just appreciate and love the learning process. They're like, I'm wanting to take you through this, and like I commend you because like it's like the love of dance is and the love of people and wanting them to connect those two things together really makes the best teacher. It's like I joke around with my students or with people when I tell them I'm a teacher. It's like, so on, my name is Joe Casanova, and I love you. I'm like, that's my guise of saying the truth without them being like, who is this guy? You know, if I said that on the street, they'd be like, get away from me. But like as a teacher, I'm like, I honestly like feel this affection towards my students. I'm like, no, I love you as a person. And that's why I'm so invested in your learning, your dance journey. Like, you can contribute something and experience something that no one else will ever. And it's like, that is priceless. I love it. So,
Oh
at that
yeah.
point, your own community on this parking garage rooftop, like, you're like creating like a whole like inflow of people. So like you now have that with your own business, like Latin Dance by Quiana. Like, what is the mindset behind that? Is it the same? Has it evolved? And like, do you want to?
No, I'm listening. Keep going. Sorry.
No, no. I was just thinking like, you started there. Like, is there something that you wanted to keep going, or something that you wanted to change, or like replicate for like a community that you've been a part of, or maybe even the opposite? Like, I have been a part of this community, and I don't want to ever replicate that. Like, is there like as you build it now, like what is your mindset behind
My mindset as a human is that my mission from the beginning of this journey has been to increase joy and connection in people's lives. Um, I wrote my vision years ago, and it was that I wanted everyone to leave my class joyfully invigorated. I wanted them to feel life force. I want them to feel good. I want them to feel like they were with people that they liked and they had a good time.
it?
And keeping the learning process very organic and not competitive, any of that sort of nonsense, which I think I've been good at accomplishing. I think that the way that I run my classes is conducive to that. And I think also the energy I put out, because for me, dance has always been for joy. Like even when I'm like working hard, uh, it's still it's still full of joy. Like I don't sacrifice my own mental state to get a dance move. I just won't. Like if I don't
Yeah.
get it, it's not time. Like move, keep it moving. Like this is it's gonna evolve just as I evolve as a human, and dance has always been like my safe place, my sacred place. Um, so that's super important to me. But and as far as business goes, like as a human, the mission has been that from day one.
Hmm.
And I told, I'm not a religious person, but I told whoever it is that gave me this mission, because I didn't ask for it, it was put in my heart.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what I'm good at, and you know what I'm not good at. So you're going to have to fill in some gaps, and you know that. So do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do my best. And you're going to fill in the gaps. And so far, that has been happening. It's such a great community. I feel super blessed to be around the people that come to classes and that choose to
Mm.
teach with me and choose to believe in what I'm doing. Yeah, it feels like life is very generous in that way for me. But the other side of that, which goes hand in hand with I need you to do your thing, is I'm also aiming for sustainability.
Mm.
And sometimes it's hard when you're in a community of people to remember that you have to like charge everyone. You can't make exceptions for things. And I'm like, whatever, it's dance. But it's like, no, if we want to keep doing this, there's a certain aspect of sustainability that comes from like minding your business. So that's the phase that I'm in at the moment. Thankfully, I have a lot of really amazing co-teachers at the moment, so that frees me up to sort of like restructure some things and try to get some help with marketing and things like that. So, but the goal is still the same. It's still about joyful connection, and at this point, I would almost add kind of like at every level of dance, because I think it's also really important to have a place for people who really want to be good at it, who really want to sort of like test their mettle at something that is even a hobby. Like I still want them to have a place in the community as well. So
So with something as serious as well as ambiguous of this person who gave you this vision from such a young age, like how do you? It seems like not everyone has that kind of concrete. No, this has been a thing. So like, how do you find people, or how do you choose people that you partner with? Right, you have co-teachers that help you with other classes, like even the class I take with you, AJ's in the class and he does the guys while we you do the leads and you do the follows and we come together, and I'm like, how do you specifically, like everyone sure has a different process, but what is your process like of being like, this person matches this joyfully invigorated vision that I see?
it's a great question. Um, I don't know that I was even thinking about people being on brand when I initially picked them, but I'm lucky because
Yeah.
I think like attracts like, and I think that I was able to find people who were on brand. But I think that, I mean, I would say the main two things that I considered is one, I wanted people who had a good reputation within the community and who are respectful members of the community. Um, because communities be full of drama. So I wanted people who were sort of like free and clear of that kind of stuff. And two, the other one is I was just looking for people who kind of fill the gaps in things that maybe I don't hold a passion for, or gaps in my content area expertise. Like there's still things that I can learn. And so finding people who can challenge in ways that I can't, um, is definitely a really good bonus. So, and I think too, with my teaching experience and my ability to convey information and explain things in ways that feel, um, um, easy to digest. I think it's good. I think it's good for me to pair up with people who have done a lot and who know a lot in salsa and bachata, and then take that information and organize it and give it to students. So those are the main two things. Yeah. So just clean reputation and fills in the gaps. And then I just got really lucky because they're all awesome people too. super lucky, and I like all of them.
And they're on brand, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah,
on brand.
that's awesome. Um, if you could, between the joyful invigorated and the on brand unintentionally people and um, all those things kind of line up together, like if you could only communicate one thing to the community that you've built, what would that be? Like if you knew that they would accept it and you'd be like, I need you to know one thing, what would it be?
Um, I love this question. We used to have, when I was teaching, we used to do this style of curriculum writing that had enduring understandings. And how
Yeah.
you would plan units is it's like, what is, if there's any one thing you can encapsulate in this unit about the classification system of kingdom, philo, etc. What would you want them to remember about this in
Yeah.
30 years? Like, what is their enduring understanding? And I think for me, with dance, that it's expression. Um, ultimately, it's just expression, and all expression is okay. If you're a person who wants to achieve and your dance is expressing your achievement, that's okay. If you want to have fun and your dance expresses your fun, that's okay. But that's what it's there for. It's there for you to express yourself however you want to do that in your movement.
I
For
love
me
that.
it's freedom.
Yeah.
I need freedom.
Yeah, that checks out, especially having danced with you multiple times. That's, and it's cool. It's cool. No, at that point, like when you're dancing with someone, you kind of we like we you know that it's different. It feels different because it's a different person, it's a different body, it's a different level of skill. But like when you think of it from that perspective, it's like, oh, I'm feeling like your personality come out with how you're expressing yourself, and you have to kind of like meet in the middle and then like kind of go from one side to the other. That's cool.
Oh
Um,
yeah, like I'm sure because you dance salsa, when you dance with different follows, even they are expressing who they are and how they respond to your communications. Like
yeah.
it's really fascinating how much you can learn about a person uh without them ever saying a word. You can see which leads want to have a conversation with you. You can see which leads are just going to take the lead and you're going to do what I say. You can tell their approach to even the most mundane things through how they communicate with their bodies and their energy. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Like you said, it's psychology. Have you ever been in an experience where you're dancing with people that don't speak the language? Like there's a literal language barrier?
Like they don't speak English?
Yeah.
Uh, I've, I mean, yes. I've had people who don't speak English very well come to class, and I have also taken classes abroad
Uh,
where I didn't know the language. Um, and that's where you realize that movement is the language, but that's also a skill to be able
mhm.
to look at something and replicate it. I feel like you have to have some sort of ability to understand movement patterns in the body to do it well. Any you can copy anything. Like, all right, they stepped on the right foot, they step on the right foot. Like maybe you won't get the fact that it was like this instead of like this, but you'll still do it. But to do it well, I think you have to have like a really good internal sense of different ways of moving the body, and understanding energy, excuse me, energy paths and things. But yeah, I mean, I've had people, and I also love languages, so I usually try to speak their language. If I know any words in it, I'll try, or I'll gesture like this, not this. I'll
Verbal,
I'll speak
non-verbal.
really loudly with my body.
I don't know the language, but you're saying it loudly, so now I understand what you're saying. Just yell it. You'll be fine.
I'll make my body yell it. That's what I
Yeah,
do.
that's funny. So in terms of experiences, if that's as a dancer, but as a teacher, does anything come to mind like an experience that you had as a teacher that changed your mindset on dance? Like whether it was, a student that like excelled at something and you're like, oh, or like a disappointment that you had, or even like a teacher that you've had yourself, achieving a goal, like this moment as a teacher, like changed your mindset on what you believe about dance, or even furthered or like confirmed something that you already knew about dance.
I think that an experience that happens all the time, actually, um, is people will know things I don't know. And people have vastly different experiences. So, somebody who comes from like a martial arts background, I recently had a student who had like fly fishing and he drew like a metaphor for what I wanted him to do with like a thing he does in fly fishing. And I'm fascinated at the like breadth of human experience. And I think it's always humbling and a good reminder that as a teacher, it's not my job to know everything. It's not my job to be like the top of some pyramid. It's my job to introduce them to information to go on their journey. Um, and my hope is that they'll take the information and apply it in ways that I'm not even applying it, right? Um, as a teacher, because I don't want them, it's not like math, I don't want them to just regurgitate the arithmetic tables to me. Hopefully, they can start making their own equations and they can um, make their own word problems, and start playing around with things. This is, I think, my goal as a teacher. So um yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest lessons is that, teaching, you're learning as much as you're teaching. Like you're learning about people, you're learning about ways to convey information. Teaching is always a conversation, the same way that they're taking in information. I'm equally taking in information because I'm like, okay, I told them this thing. Now I'm watching them do this thing. And I'm like, oh, they're not doing what I thought I told them to do. So I need to give more words, or something was amiss in like my explanation or their
Mm.
the execution of this. So I have to go back. And so it's this dance of, always, um, you know, responding and listening, and you're always making decisions as a teacher based on what is happening in front of you. um, so yeah, I would, yeah, I think just a lot of humbling experience have left me to believe that teaching is learning. It's both.
Yeah, I feel like I have become such a like I have so much information to apply as a teacher from this conversation. So I love the fact that it's a constant. That's not like a highlighted climactic moment. It's like this constant like, oh, I don't know anything about fly fishing, but you obviously do, and it helped you understand this experience. Like that's crazy, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, it's like an example or like a metaphor, that mental like image that he can pull that you couldn't because you didn't have that experience. Um, what from shifting from that, like, what is a mindset that you see in students as they're on their dance journey that either helps their dance journey or hurts their dance journey? I guess that's
Ooh.
something, especially as yeah, like whereas I mean, without maybe giving names, I don't know, but like it's like keep
So
the names have been changed to protect the innocents or whatever.
yeah,
But
right.
yeah, like as teachers, we're constantly seeing people, not necessarily students or dancers. Like we're seeing the person, and so it's like I have so many different people with so many different personalities, with so many different mindsets that I'm like, oh, these people are very similar personality type wise, but their mindsets are like opposites. And so I'm really trying to like inform, if I'm trying to like joyfully invigorate them, if I'm trying to like introduce them to this information that they can then fly with, I'm really trying to like touch their mindset. So like when you what have you seen that really helps or hurts someone's dance journey? You kind of comment.
I mean, the first thing I would say is the concept of blame. And I think that there's a big current in Latin dance where they say, well, if anything goes wrong, it's the lead's fault.
Yeah.
And so it initiates this sort of like bit of blame. And I have a lot of thoughts on that. I think one of my ex-boyfriend who changed my life, he was a really great communicator, and he said to me once that the communication that you receive is the communication they feel like they got from you, right? So if someone comes back at you with spice, they interpreted some spice from you. And so instead of escalating that, you probably need to go back and be like, oh, wait, what happened there? There was a miscommunication because I wasn't meaning to be spicy. So this is where like sometimes a role reversal comes in handy because a lot of times leads will do something and follows will sense spice. We'll just call it spice for whatever it is. Maybe it's aggression, maybe it's forcefulness, maybe, I don't know, it could be a lot of things. But
Mhm.
why is a lead being forceful? Why would a lead be forceful? Because he just feels like it? Because he's like, I'm going to do what I want to do. In those cases, they happen. But sometimes it's because the lead's not getting what he feels like he should be getting from a follow. So he goes harder. And I think this is actually one of the things that I would like to be better about is helping leads be more of a leader, meaning like they take charge of adapting to what is happening in front of them. And
Mhm.
instead of going with more force, like if you've ever been in a crowd and you try to yell over the crowd, you're never going to win. But if you slightly lower your volume and you lower your volume and you get quieter, people will be quiet to listen. If you're screaming over them, they're gonna, it's a battle, right? But if you just back off and you go a little quieter and you be a little more precise, see, look, we're hanging on the edge, but this is the whole point. So I feel like this culture of blame is what I would like to get rid of and feel more like it's a culture of communication and getting to the core of how the communication went amok instead of blaming, like more like problem solving, like we're in this together, like we're trying to create this thing together instead of like, well, you're the boss so it's your fault, or you didn't give me this so it's your fault. But creating how you can both make accommodations to make something work, which I think is also a really great human skill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I find myself, and this is like all the people I'm potentially gonna be having conversations with in the future. Like, this is like the undertone of like selfish motives because like so many times I'm learning from these conversations, but then like not just as a dance teacher or as a dancer, like me as a person, I would love to know and have like apply this mindset to my life, you know. So that's the dynamics of dance is very fascinating. Um, yeah, I think I felt that very much as a leader. Like I the first time I ever heard that was in ballet. That is like, don't drop the girl and everything's your fault. It's like that was it. Like partner dancing, like you're doing lifts and carrying them, and it's like everything is your fault. You need to know that. And I was like, I it made me understand the importance of it and like the severity of it. So that was kind of good. But again, it still had this blame factor that I was like, I need to make sure I don't mess up, and that makes me nervous. And then you mess up because you're nervous, and it's like this
Yes.
vicious cycle. And it's like the communication is amazing. And I feel like you can. I think personally, you can feel that a lot more with partner dancing and it's ballet, but it still translates. You know, it's
Hmm.
important. Um, is there anything else you have that comes to mind when it comes to mindset and dance that you feel like I didn't ask you during this conversation?
I don't think so. I think, I mean, I think it's one of the thoughts that I have is that we as a culture and as a society tend to polarize. Um, and I'm fascinated with how I even see this in um, like a lot of the posts that I see. Like everybody and their mama has an opinion about everything, and they're going to post about it.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, I want to say something too because I don't like this, but I'm like, it's just going to get lost in the mess of like people who have stuff to say, you know? But I see a lot of like, oh, like one was like, it makes me sad to see that training culture is not, as strong as it used to be. And I'm like, why is that sad? Like it just is. Like you can find people to train. Like I guess that's something that you value, but it's just an opinion. I guess what am I saying? Yeah, I think you just have to like live your best life. And if you want to dance for a sense of achievement and to prove to yourself something, then you should dance and you should prove that thing to yourself and be happy about it. And if you just want to dance because you want to flit about in a florist, then I think you should flit about in a forest. I do. That's my
Yeah.
favorite, actually. That's my favorite form of dance is flitting about in the forest.
And
But I wish that we would all just leave space for all of human experience in in dance and wherever. Like we should just all leave space. I mean, of course not for bad things, but I don't know what are bad things. I don't know.
no,
Now we're getting into the whole meaning of life, and I don't know what that
yeah.
is. Right?
Dance is
I
life.
don't know.
Yeah.
Dance is life.
Yeah. Awesome. We can-
She is the best, objectively speaking. It's also very strange watching that conversation and her saying things and me reacting in real time. How I was reacting in the video, I'm like, I see myself go, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. It still hits. It still hits real hard. Is it? Yeah. So below me, you'll see Kiana's Instagram handle. She's on Instagram and on Facebook, and she's also has like a WhatsApp group that you can find. So if you're in this area in Hampton Roads, or if you find yourself in this area in the future, take classes with Kiana. Your life will be much better because of it, just objectively speaking.